This happens when I'm around 14 to 15 years old. When I was still an atheist, no religion, and had no respect for any religion of any sorts. As it is very common for people in Buddhist, Hindus, Taoism to burn paper offering to the dead. So it's pretty common to see this around Southeast Asia. There was this one time I saw someone that was burning paper and praying along the roadside. Young me didn't know that it was supposed to help them ward off bad luck and the unseen that was trying to mess with them. Due to that, I don't believe in such things. I kicked the burnt ashes the next morning, and yep, the unseen actually followed me back. Got so sick in school that I kept vomiting and was sitting back home. From my parents' story, I was having a high fever for 2 weeks, and I was screaming to revenge on someone that I didn't even know I was very aggressive. It was pretty much like I was intoxicated. I almost climbed off the windowsills, and no matter where I am, and my parents went down to the temple and asked, and yep, they quickly went to what's needed. I'm able to at last speak and was told not to kick those ashes again. And from what I remember is that after I was sent home from school, there was a lady that was pulled off by one of the hell envoys, and she was actually finding a replacement so she can have a better reincarnation for the next life. She told the envoy that she will make me kill myself from depression. I saw her staring at me, and she pulled me off the bed, down the stairs, and basically anywhere that she could knock my head off. I had really bad cuts and bruises everywhere. It makes me feel very sick, like I will vomit food despite that I didn't eat anything for the whole day. I was also talking about things unrelated, and I almost hurt my parents and grandparents due to a tantrum. I hardly ever have tantrums. There was also this one time I screamed at my mom that she was a bad, evil woman. Till now I still regret it. But she knows it wasn't me. Like every atheist, I still don't bring any religious items with me, and I would not believe that they have such power to overwrite my sensitive body. So it was pretty much easy to get possessed. I'm still a non-believer, despite that all that happened to me, but I agreed never to interrupt the unseen again. This is a story about one of many very strange and creepy things that happened to me when I was in my early mid-teens. There was a lot of turmoil and negativity around me. My mom had married my stepdad, an abusive leader of a messianic cult. I was very unhappy. My bedroom in this house was downstairs, isolated from the rest of the family. I was also afraid of lying in the dark alone in that room. Every night the knocking would start. It was like someone knocking on the door hard. It was regular and heavy, and started at the far side of the room, rapping on the wall. It would move around the room, knocking on walls and chests of drawers until it was at the bedside table right next to me. Bang, bang, bang. This night I was so afraid. I hid under my duvet and didn't move until morning. That is when the demon came into it. We had a cat called Lucky. He was semi-tame and sometimes slept under my bed. I was so relieved to hear him under the bed. He was in a bad mood though. I could hear his claws clawing angrily at the duvet. I could feel the weight of his body on the bed. I could hear him growling and hissing. I didn't want to tackle him even if he was acting like a little shit. Eventually, I had enough of the noises, the clawing, the weight of him pulling my duvet down. I leaned under the bed and ordered him out. There was no cat. There was nothing under the bed at all. I asked my mom where Lucky was, and she said he wouldn't come in last night. He's out in the shed. So recently, Dad has been dealing with his epilepsy and getting seizures frequently as he is transitioning from medications. My mom had been attentive to him and has problems sleeping as she wants to make sure nothing happens in the middle of the night. So one could say she is a bit sleep deprived. So this morning, 4 a.m., my dad had a seizure. Of course, my mom was there first, and I arrived a couple seconds after. I heard her call me. Minutes go by, and Dad recovers, goes back to sleep, still looking a bit drunkish confused. My mom then goes back to sleep after I assured her that my dad is okay. 2 hours pass by, and I hear crying and screaming, to which I fucking rush and was there in a split second. It took her about 5 minutes to fully recover, and she then told us there was a person dressed in white with a horrifying mask that entered the room and apparently was there to take my dad away. She was trembling and sweating and crying even after she calmed down a bit. What's crazy too is that my siblings experienced sleep paralysis this morning as well. Can someone interpret this or has had a similar experience? I posted another story here tonight, but this one also just popped into my head. When I was 10 years old, my mom took me and my little brother, he was around 4 years old at the time, to the mall near our home. This is your average mall, so it's got Lord and Taylor, Macy's, etc. in it. In the food court of this mall, there was one of those little kid play places set up, and my brother wanted to go in, so we did. My mom got busy watching my little brother, so I sat down on the bench. I had gotten a pack or two of new baseball cards and was thumbing through them when this older guy, maybe 25 to 30, maybe a bit older, came over and sat next to me. "Get any good cards?" he asked me. "Nah, nothing really," I replied. That's when he said either, "Do you want to see my baseball cards?" or, "I collect cards too, do you want to see them?" I remember either just saying no or just a straight no. But I got up and walked to another side of the seats closer to my mom and he disappeared. I never really put two and two together or thought anything of it until many years later. And I never told anyone for years. Not because anything bad happened, but because nothing bad happened to me and I didn't want to worry anyone. So, if you read 2 of my other posts, you will already know that I have a decent knowledge of martial arts. Not expert, just decent. Like how I taught my cousins, I also taught my younger sister how to defend herself. She is the closest one to me because she is a foster sister. Might sound weird, but I know. Anyways, I taught her several ways to defend herself, but she's my complete opposite. If I liked unarmed, she preferred weapons. Hence why she wanted to learn the Tanofa arts of Kyokushin karate. I had considerable amount of knowledge about it, so I taught her what I know. She always brought with her an extendable tonfa, just in case. And that decision saved her. January this year, she decided that she wants to join her friends meeting up with a group of 3 dudes. I don't know why. My brother instincts was telling me that something wasn't right. I told her not to go, but she insisted. If you're a brother, you know how I felt. I was worried the whole time. So she said, "Tell you what, you can follow me from behind, but don't interrupt us. Just tell us from afar." So her friends and her ordered a grab, just like Uber, to the place where they decided to meet up, a sushi place. Long story short, I got there before them in my dad's car and waited. I could see 3 guys. They are supposed to meet. I'll tell you this. They didn't look like good news. They are way older than my sister and her friends. So they meet up at this place. While I waited from outside and watched, everything was fine, but this feeling wouldn't go away. Then 1 hour later, I could see the girls coming out quickly, as if they were in a hurry. I could tell something was up. The 3 men followed them from behind and caught up to them and then stopped them from going away. By that time, I already opened my car door and wanted to sprint to them. But I also wanted to see how my sister handles this, so I observed. They argued at first. For what I heard, they wanted to bring the girls somewhere else and apologized about what they did earlier. The girls refused, but the guys insisted. Much to my surprise, they started pulling one of my sister's friends forcibly, and it all went to shit. They were using violence now. One guy grabbed my sister's shoulders, but she quickly broke free. What happened next will remain in my mind forever. She pulled out her extendable tonfa and started beating them up, like how I taught her. Every time the guy wanted to grab her, she would always have a new way to counter that. 3 guys having a hard time against one girl is something you don't see every day. Realizing that they won't go away, I went to interrupt. "Stop!" I yelled. They all stopped what they were doing and stared at me. One of the guys asked me who I was, and I answered, "Her brother," calmly while pointing at my sister. They know that it's dangerous to go against me, so they scurried away. Later that day, I gifted my sister a free KFC meal because of how proud I was of her.